Are you there, alone in the quiet of the night, with nothing but the numbers dancing in your head? I know the feeling. I used to live there. They call me an investor. It sounds powerful, but for me, it's always been a battle. And I stay in the fight for one reason. I love money. I love the freedom, the possibilities. I love the game. That love is why I never, ever quit. But my journey, it doesn't look like the ones you see on TV. You hear stories of overnight success, of people who perfectly timed the market. I hear them, I smile, and I feel like I'm on a different planet, because my path is paved with a different kind of stone. I've had my wins, sweet, beautiful wins. But my losses have a unique flavor. I don't just lose. I face the kind of challenges people say happen once in a lifetime. The market gut punches, the black swan events that nobody sees coming. Others face them once. I seem to collect them. And a toxic belief started to grow in the back of my mind, like a weed. I'm just unlucky. By day, I was a warrior. I told myself these were just tests. I had this beautiful belief that the money I lost was just on vacation. And when it came back, it would bring all its friends and family with it. A nice thought, right? But when the sun went down, that warrior's voice became a trembling whisper, and a different entity took over. Anxiety. It would grip my chest, making it hard to breathe. It stole my sleep. It would jolt me awake at 3 a.m., my heart pounding, drenched in a cold sweat. I tried everything to fight it. I took melatonin. It did nothing. I got a prescription for antidepressants. The peace they offered felt hollow, borrowed. I saw a therapist. The appointments were a month apart and cost a small fortune. I'd leave the office feeling just as empty as when I walked in. I paid for online sessions, hoping for a faster solution. Same price, same advice, and still no sleep. I realized the problem wasn't external. The problem was the voice inside my head. It was too damn weak. And then, one of those sleepless nights, I found them. Affirmation videos. At first, I scoffed. A few cliché phrases are supposed to help. But I was desperate. I put in my earbuds and closed my eyes. And a new voice emerged. Not a doctor's, not my own shaking whisper. It was a calm, steady voice. It didn't argue with my fear. It simply filled the space with truths I had forgotten I knew. I am calm and confident in the face of market volatility. Every challenge is a lesson that makes me a stronger investor. I am a magnet for wealth and prosperity. Money always flows back to me, bringing new opportunities with it. That night, for the first time in months, I slept through till morning. No jolts, no panic. Now, affirmations aren't just my sleeping pill. They are my weapon. Do you see yourself in this story? Do you fight that same belief that you're just not as lucky as everyone else? Does your confidence evaporate the moment your head hits the pillow? If you do, then you'll listen for the same reason I do. Listen, not to deny reality, but to build a new one from the inside out. It sounds powerful, but for me, it's always been a battle. Listen, to let a voice of strength drown out the whispers of doubt. Listen, and allow the winner inside you to finally speak up. Are you ready to listen? The night is no longer my enemy. Take a breath with me on that. Feel the truth of it. Let it land. The silence that once amplified the frantic beating of your own heart. It is now just silence. The darkness that once projected your worst fears onto the back of your eyelids. It is now just a velvet curtain inviting rest. The four walls of your room that once felt like a prison cell of anxiety. They are now a sanctuary. Sleep is no longer a stranger. It's not some long-lost friend you beg to visit. It's not a transaction you try to make with a pill. It has returned home. It greets you now with a gentle embrace, a quiet promise that the battles of the day are done, and the mind can stand down. Feel that peace. For a moment, just dwell in it. It is real. You have earned it. This calm is the first trophy you've won in a war that is waged not on a trading screen, but in the 6 inches of space between your own ears. It's the first evidence that you are beginning to change. But let us be perfectly clear, you and I. This peace, this newfound calm, isn't the endgame. It isn't the victory parade. In the world of risk and reward, in the grand arena where fortunes are made and characters are forged, peace is just the starting line. It is the clearing of the fog before the real campaign begins. It is the deep, steady breath a warrior takes at dawn, surveying the field, knowing that survival is no longer the question. The question now is victory. My goal was never just to survive the storm. It was to stand in its eye and command it. It was to learn its language, to dance with its chaos, to harness its raw power and make it my own. The goal was, and always will be, to conquer it. And in that quiet, newfound peace, I had a revelation. A moment of profound clarity. I realized that the very same affirmations that had lulled my wounded soul to sleep the gentle whispers that had been my shield against the nightly terrors. These same words held a different power, a dormant power. They could be used to awaken the giant within. Think about it. The words that could calm a frantic mind possessed the inverse power to focus a calm one. The frequency that could soothe chaos could also energize stillness. The shield could be reforged into a sword. And I understood, with a certainty that resonated through my entire being, that the weapon I had stumbled upon in the desperate darkness of my anxiety needed to be brought into the blinding light of day. It was time to move from defense to offense. It was time for phase 2. My affirmation practice transformed. It shed its gentle skin. It was no longer a lullaby whispered to a frightened child. It became my morning ritual, my armor, donned before I even allowed the noise of the pre-market to enter my consciousness. Before the talking heads on financial news could plant their seeds of fear or greed, I was planting my own seeds. Seeds of absolute, unshakable resolve. It became the mantra I repeated, my breath synchronized with the words. Right before executing a trade. It was the final system check, not of my charts, but of my own mind, ensuring the operator of the system was in peak condition. It became the declaration I played on a loop, a fortress of sound. When a position went against me, while the amateur inside screamed, "Sell, get out, protect yourself," this new voice would calmly override it, keeping emotion from hijacking the cockpit of my logic. It allowed me to honor my stop-loss with the dispassionate precision of a surgeon. Not the frantic panic of a patient. And the affirmations themselves, they evolved. They were no longer soft and yielding. They became sharp. They became offensive. They became the blade's edge. I didn't just want to feel better. I wanted to be better. I wanted to perform at a level that my old self would deem impossible. So I crafted a new arsenal. The first was for clarity. My vision is clear. I see the opportunities that others miss. The second, for courage. The market's fear is my signal for courage. The third, for execution. Discipline is my freedom. I execute my strategy with absolute precision. And the fourth, for resolve. I act with conviction. Hesitation is not in my vocabulary. These weren't just words. They were programming. They were the code for a new operating system. Every sentence was a hammer strike. Every repetition was me taking the raw, unrefined metal of my old mindset mind, prone to panic, greed, and hesitation, and heating it in the white-hot fire of intense focus. Then, with the hammer of repetition, I would pound that metal into a new shape. Over and over. The heat of focus. The strike of the hammer. Was it hard? Hell yes. It was grueling. Some days, my mind would resist. The old programming, the comfortable habits of fear would fight back. They would scream that this was foolish, that I was just talking to myself, that I should just go back to reacting like everyone else. It's an exhausting process to override years, even decades, of ingrained mental habits. It's the equivalent of a mental marathon. Every single day. But I knew a fundamental truth. A sword isn't forged from silk. A champion's mindset isn't built on comfort. It requires fire and pressure. It demands that you show up, especially on the days you don't want to. It demands that you do the work when no one is watching. That is the price of elite performance. And it's a price I became willing to pay. And now, I ask you, look at your own hands. What are you holding? You have the knowledge. You've read the books, you've watched the videos, you've studied the charts until your eyes burned. You have the capital. You've worked, you've saved, you've put your hard-earned money on the line, ready to build a better future. You have the raw materials. But what about the sword itself? What about the tool that wields all that knowledge and all that capital? What about your mindset? Does it bend at the slightest market tremor? Does it chip when you take an unexpected loss? Does it grow heavy with doubt, making you too slow to act? Are you holding a piece of raw, unformed metal, expecting it to win a war against professional warriors armed with blades of Damascus steel? Your mindset is the single greatest variable in your success. It is the catalyst that either ignites your knowledge into profit or lets it fizzle out into disappointment. So let's begin the real work. Let's step into the forge together. Listen to these words, not to escape the market, but to train for it. To build the mental muscle, the resilience, the sheer grit required to succeed. Listen to finally bridge the vast, frustrating chasm between your analysis and your action. To silence the voice of doubt that paralyzes you in the critical moment between seeing an opportunity and seizing it. Listen to forge your patience into a deadly weapon. Not just a fearful, passive waiting game. To learn that true patience isn't about hoping the market does what you want. It's about waiting with absolute certainty for the market to present the exact conditions your strategy requires. Let's break it down. Let's build this sword, piece by piece. Let's begin with the first affirmation. My vision is clear. I see the opportunities that others miss. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, I want you to visualize the market as you usually see it. A chaotic screen of flashing red and green lights. A torrent of news headlines, expert opinions, and social media chatter. It's a storm of noise, isn't it? A thick, dense fog where it's impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. This fog is what keeps most people trapped in a cycle of reaction. They can't see the setup coming. They only see the aftermath. This is where you must be different. Repeat this in your mind. Let it resonate behind your eyes. My vision is clear. Again. Feel the words. My vision is clear. The fog begins to thin. The chaotic noise starts to separate into two distinct sounds. Noise and signal. The noise is the emotional chatter, the daily predictions, the hype. It is designed to confuse you, to make you act rashly. The signal is the pure data. It is the pattern. It is the language of the market itself. Your new mind, your clear vision, is a filter. It effortlessly discards the noise and focuses only on the signal. You no longer hear the talking head on TV. You see the volume pattern on the chart. You no longer feel the FOMO from a social media post. You see the clear rejection at a key resistance level. Now, the second part. I see the opportunities that others miss. Others are blinded by the fog of noise. They are looking at the same chart as you, but they do not see what you see. While they are caught in the story of the day, you are reading the story of the chart, a story that has been unfolding for weeks or months. You see the subtle shift in momentum. You recognize the quiet accumulation phase before the explosive breakout. You see the weakness in a trend long before the crowd does. Your clarity gives you an edge. It's not magic. It's focus. You have trained your mind to look for your specific setups, your patterns, your strategy's signature. You are a hunter in the jungle, ignoring the thousands of irrelevant sounds. your ears tuned only to the one sound that matters. Breathe in clarity. Breathe out chaos. My vision is clear. I see the opportunities that others miss. You are no longer a passenger in the storm. You are the lighthouse, seeing through it all. Now for the second affirmation, the one that separates the professional from the amateur. The market's fear is my signal for courage. Picture a sea of red on your screen. A cascade of selling. The headlines are screaming, "Crash!" The forums are filled with panic and despair. What is your first visceral reaction? Feel it. Your heart rate quickens. Your stomach tightens. The primal herd instinct screams, "Danger! Run, sell everything." This is the moment of greatest peril and greatest opportunity. The herd is always wrong at the extremes. Their panic is a transfer of wealth in progress. A transfer from the fearful to the prepared. From the emotional to the disciplined. And you are prepared. Repeat this, feel it in your gut, in your core. The market's fear is my signal. It's not a signal to panic with them. It's a signal to awaken. It's a signal to pay very, very close attention. It's the dinner bell for the lions. While the sheep scatter, you become intensely calm. Now, the second part. For courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Don't ever believe that lie. Courage is acting in alignment with your plan, despite the presence of fear. It's looking at that sea of red and seeing not danger, but a discount. It's seeing a fire sale on premium assets. It's understanding that the best time to buy is when there's blood in the streets, even if some of it is your own. Your strategy has rules for this. Your backtesting has proven that these moments, these points of maximum pessimism, are often the points of maximum opportunity. Your courage comes from your preparation. It comes from trusting your system more than you trust the screams of the crowd. So when that wave of fear hits the market, you do not turn and run with the herd. You turn and face the wave. You plant your feet. Your breathing is steady. You are the rock that the waves of panic crash against. Breathe in the energy of the market's fear. Do not absorb the fear itself, but the raw energy behind it. Breathe it in. And as you breathe out, transmute that energy into calm, focused, courageous action. The market's fear is my signal for courage. You are not the sheep. You are the shepherd. We come to the engine room, the part that makes everything else work. Discipline is my freedom. I execute my strategy with absolute precision. What does the word discipline bring up for you? For most, it feels like a cage. Restriction. Boredom. The opposite of freedom. The amateur mind craves the freedom to do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. The freedom to chase a hot tip, to double down on a losing trade out of ego, to take profit too early out of anxiety. This is the great illusion. That is not freedom. That is the slavery of emotion. It's a chaotic prison where your results are random and your stress is constant. Now, let's redefine it. Let's install the new belief. Discipline is my freedom. Say it. Feel the paradigm shift. Discipline is my freedom. Imagine an airline pilot. Is she free to ignore the pre-flight checklist? Is she free to follow her gut on how much fuel is needed? No. She follows the checklist with absolute, unwavering discipline. Does that discipline restrict her? No. That discipline is the very thing that gives her the freedom of flight. It's what guarantees, with the highest probability, that she and everyone on board will arrive at their destination safely. Your trading plan is your pre-flight checklist. Your risk management rules are your fuel calculations. Your entry and exit criteria are your flight path. Following them with precision is not restrictive. It is the only path to true freedom. The freedom from emotional decisions. The freedom from catastrophic losses. The freedom from the stress of uncertainty. Discipline gives you the freedom to know that over a large number of trades, you have a statistical edge. It gives you the freedom to walk away from the screen, knowing your orders are in place and the system is working. It gives you the freedom to sleep at night. Now, the second part. I execute my strategy with absolute precision. No exceptions. No, just this once. Absolute precision means you honor your stop loss, even if it hurts your ego. It means you take your profits at your target, Even if greed whispers that it might go higher, it means you don't enter a trade unless it meets every single one of your criteria. You are a professional. You are the pilot of your capital. And you execute with the precision that profession demands. Breathe in focus. Breathe out chaos. Breathe in structure. Breathe out impulse. Discipline is my freedom. I execute my strategy with absolute precision. Finally, we forge the tip of the sword, the part that makes contact. Action. I act with conviction. Hesitation is not in my vocabulary. Let's go to that moment. The setup is there. It's perfect. It meets every rule in your plan. Your finger hovers over the mouse, and a voice whispers, "But what if you're wrong? What if this is the one time the pattern fails? Maybe wait for one more confirmation candle. Maybe see what the market does in the next 5 minutes." That is the voice of hesitation. It is the assassin of profit. It is a virus that corrupts perfectly good analysis into a spectator sport. The cost of hesitation is often far greater than the cost of being wrong. You miss the entry and then watch in agony as the trade works perfectly without you. We must erase this voice. We must delete this word from our operational language. Feel this new command take root. I act with conviction. Conviction doesn't mean you are certain of the outcome. No one is. Conviction means you are certain in your process. You have done the work. You have tested the strategy. You trust your edge. Therefore, when your signal appears, your action is the logical, automatic conclusion. There is no debate. There is no committee meeting in your mind. There is only execution. Think of a trained martial artist. When an attack comes, they do not hesitate to wonder, is this the best block? What if I block incorrectly? Their body has been trained through thousands of repetitions to react instantly. Your mind must be the same. Signal. Action. Signal. Action. Now, the final, powerful declaration. Hesitation is not in my vocabulary. You are removing the word itself. It no longer exists as an option. You reframe every trade. It is not a question of being right or wrong. It is a matter of executing your plan. If the trade works, fantastic. If it fails, it hits your predetermined stop loss, and you have simply bought data. You have learned something. There is no catastrophic failure. There is only execution and feedback. This removes the fear of being wrong. And without the fear of being wrong, hesitation starves and dies. You see your setup. You take a calm breath. You click the button. You act. I act with conviction. Hesitation is not in my vocabulary. So here you stand, at the anvil of your own will. The fire of your focus is burning hot. The hammer of repetition is in your hand. The raw metal of your old self is glowing, ready to be shaped. You are the blacksmith of your own mind. I no longer pray for a favorable market. That is a game of chance, of hope. I have abandoned that game. Instead, I forge myself to conquer any market. I build a mindset so robust, a process so disciplined, that the market's mood becomes irrelevant. I am the constant. My process is the constant. My sword gets sharper every single day. Now I ask you one last time. Look deep inside. Be honest. How sharp is yours? The sword is sharp. Let's just pause on that for a moment. Feel the weight and meaning of it. The sword of the mind, forged in the fires of focus, beaten into shape by the hammer of discipline. It's no longer a raw piece of metal, easily bent by fear or greed. It is now a precision instrument, a reliable tool. The battles have been won. The spoils of war have been collected. The numbers in your bank account, they no longer provoke anxiety or stress. They have begun to dance to a much happier tune, a symphony of growth and achievement. You set a goal many thought impossible, and you reached it. You learned the rules of the game. You mastered your emotions. You won. By every external definition the world can offer, you have won the game. But then, after the celebrations fade, after the initial adrenaline subsides, something strange begins to happen. It doesn't come like a storm in the night. It arrives in the quiet stillness of the dawn. As you wake up in the bigger house, get into the faster car, Look at the number in your account that you once only dreamed of. A question begins to echo. At first, it's just a whisper, an indefinable emptiness, a nagging feeling you try to push away by setting even bigger financial goals. Maybe I just don't have enough yet, you tell yourself. Maybe when I hit X or Y or Z, this feeling will finally disappear. But it doesn't disappear. The whisper grows louder. It echoes in the silent moments between meetings, in the solitude of the luxurious space you've built around yourself. It becomes a haunting question, one more difficult to answer than any of the late-night anxieties of the past. A question so simple, yet so profound it feels bottomless. More money for what? For what when you realize you can buy anything, but you don't have the time to enjoy it? For what when you can go anywhere, but you have no one who truly understands to share the journey with? For what when your body starts sending signals of fatigue, your back aching, your vision blurring, your energy depleted? For what when you've conquered the world, but you feel like a stranger to the person in the mirror? And that's when I had an epiphany. A simple truth that changed everything. I realized I'd spent years becoming a master dam builder. I had poured all my focus and energy into constructing a massive reservoir. Every dollar earned was another bucket of water poured in. I built reinforced concrete walls of discipline and risk management to ensure not a single drop could leak out. I became obsessed with measuring the water level daily. My goal was to make the reservoir bigger, deeper, fuller. I believed my safety and my happiness were directly proportional to the volume of water I could hoard. But I was so focused on building the reservoir that I forgot I was surrounded by a barren wasteland. A vast garden dying of thirst. I was protecting my bank account like an impenetrable fortress, but I was neglecting my most precious, non-fungible assets, my health, my soul, and my relationships. The reservoir could be full to the brim, but my garden was turning to dust. And so, once again, I knew I had to evolve. This journey of self-development is magical that way. It isn't a straight line. It's a series of doors. And just when you think you've reached the end of the hall, a new door appears, inviting you into a larger room, a higher state of awareness. So, I sat down and rewrote my affirmations. My declarations were no longer just about money, about sharpness, about winning. They began to speak of something larger, more all-encompassing. They began to speak of prosperity. Prosperity is not wealth. Wealth is a number. Prosperity is a state of being. Wealth is how much water you have in your reservoir. Prosperity is how lush and fruitful your garden is. And these are the seeds I began to plant. A seed for health. I am grateful for this healthy body, the amazing vessel that allows me to enjoy my life. A seed for flow. Money is a current. I give with joy and I receive with gratitude. A seed for connection. I use my wealth to create meaningful experiences for myself and the people I love. A seed for freedom. Time is my ultimate asset. I use money to buy my freedom. And a seed for love. I am a magnet for authentic relationships where we support and elevate each other. You see, the mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. If you spend your whole life planting only one type of seed called money, you might grow a giant money tree. But beneath that tree, the soil will be barren, starved of light, and choked with the weeds of loneliness, burnout, and emptiness. Now, let's visit the river that flows through the garden. This river is money. The dam builder looks at the river and sees only one thing: the risk of loss. They build walls, dams, and barriers to stop the flow. They panic when the water level drops. Their reservoir may be vast, but its water is stagnant. And stagnant water doesn't create life. It breeds decay. The gardener sees the river differently. They understand that the nature of water is to flow. The current brings with it silt, nutrients, and life. They don't try to stop the river. They dig irrigation channels, guiding the water to every plant, to every plot of land. They know that when they use the water to nourish the garden will bloom and bear fruit, and that fruit is more valuable than the water itself. And they trust that the river is infinite. More water will always come. Are you looking at your money like a stagnant reservoir or a living river? Do you feel a pang of pain, a knot in your stomach, every time you have to spend a significant amount, even on necessary things or worthwhile experiences? Do you cling to every dollar with the constant fear that if it leaves, it will never return? That is the reservoir mindset. Let's change that energy flow right now. Place a hand on your wallet or simply visualize your bank account. And plant the seed of circulation. Money is a current. I give with joy and I receive with gratitude. Feel the shift. Giving is not losing. Spending is not failure. Every time you pay a bill, do it with gratitude. Gratitude for the service you received. Gratitude that you have the means to pay. Every time you buy a gift for a loved one, do it with pure joy, focusing on their happiness, not the number on the receipt. Every time you invest in yourself, a course, a book, a trip, see it as watering the most important tree in the garden. Let's keep planting. I release all fear of lack. I live in a universe of abundance. Every dollar I circulate returns to me multiplied in unexpected ways. I am a wise steward of money's energy. I direct it towards what creates value, joy, and growth. When you allow money to flow, you are signaling to the universe that you trust in the current of prosperity. And the universe will answer that trust by making your river even wider. A tree, no matter how tall, cannot withstand a storm if it doesn't have a strong root system. In our garden of prosperity, those roots are our relationships. Be honest with yourself. On your journey of forging your sword and conquering the financial world, how many important roots have you accidentally severed? The missed calls from your parents you never returned? The invitations from friends you canceled because you were too busy? The evenings you sat next to your partner, but your mind was miles away, staring at a stock chart? We often lie to ourselves. When I'm successful, I'll have time for them. But success without anyone to share it with is the loneliest, emptiest success of all. True wealth is amplified when it's shared. Joy is doubled, and sorrow is halved. The dam builder only networks. These are transactional relationships. What can you do for me, and what can I do for you? The gardener connects. These are unconditional relationships. I am here for you, and I know you are here for me. It's time to stop networking and start nourishing your roots. Visualize the most important people in your life. See their faces. Hear their laughter. Let the feeling of love and appreciation for them fill your heart. And plant this seed. I am a magnet for authentic relationships where we support and elevate each other. Feel that you are worthy of those relationships. You are not a burden. You are a gift. And you deserve to receive love and support. Cultivate this land with specific actions. I give my full, undivided presence to the people I love. It is the most valuable gift I have. I listen to understand, not just to reply. I easily express my gratitude and appreciation for the people around me. I forgive myself and others, releasing old energies to welcome new connections. Financial wealth can come and go, but the wealth of love and friendship is a treasure that will stay with you forever. It is the root system that keeps you from being uprooted when the storms of life inevitably come. Finally, we arrive at the very reason we cultivate this garden. to harvest the fruit. This fruit is not a luxury watch or a new car. It is an experience, a memory, a moment that makes you feel truly breathtakingly alive. And to enjoy that fruit, you need something more precious than money. You need space. You need time. The dam builder is a collector of things. They buy a sports car, but only drive it in rush hour traffic. They buy a mansion with a pool, but never have time to swim. They buy expensive objects to fill an inner void, but the joy is fleeting, lasting only a few days. The gardener is a collector of memories. They understand that the value of money lies not in possessing it, but in using it to craft a life story worth telling. Close your eyes. Compare these two feelings. The feeling you get when you unbox a new phone, and the feeling you get standing on a mountaintop, watching the sunset after a long hike. Which feeling lingers in your soul? Which one truly nourishes you? Now is the time to plant the seeds of intentional enjoyment. I use my wealth to create meaningful experiences for myself and the people I love. And the most important seed of all, the seed of ultimate freedom. Time is my ultimate asset. I use money to buy my freedom. This is the highest level of the financial game. Not using your time to make money, but using your money to buy back your time. Buying the time to do what you truly love, not what you have to do. Buying the time to be with your children during the fleeting years of their childhood. Buying the time to learn a new skill, play an instrument, or simply do nothing at all and let your mind wander. Let's keep planting. I invest in memories, not just materials. Every day, I take a moment to consciously enjoy the fruits of my labor. Freedom is my ultimate goal, and I am architecting it daily. And so, we have walked through your garden of prosperity. A garden with the rich soil of a healthy body, irrigated by the flowing river of money, held firm by the root system of deep relationships, and bearing the sweet fruit of experiences and time. This is not an abandonment of ambition. This is an upgrade of ambition. Your sword is still there, just as sharp as ever. But now, you no longer use it to conquer distant, undefined lands. You use it to protect your precious garden. You use it to cut away the weeds of negativity, to prune the dead branches of old habits. You have evolved from a warrior into a guardian, a wise gardener. Money is a powerful energy, and you have learned to master it. But now, you will use that energy not just to build a bigger reservoir, but to cultivate a more vibrant life. So the final question for you, my friend. Are you the guard of a stagnant reservoir, or the gardener of a prosperous life? Your garden. Is it blooming, or is it barren? The answer and the seeds are in your hands.